Hello, relatives. Welcome to this week's Schlagbite for the week, May 12th, 2008, entitled I Dream of Genie. I'm on a flight home from Minneapolis. I'm sitting in the aisle seat just behind the bulkhead. And next to me in the middle seat is an elderly woman who is reading a John Grisham novel. And next to her, in the window seat, is a friend of mine from Phoenix, whose name is Larry Colbert, who happens to be blind. At Larry's feet lies Banner, his seeing-eye dog. The New York Times is in my lap, and I proceed to stick in my earplugs. This is a maneuver which doesn't invite a lot of casual conversation, because plane trips are my fun reading time. The captain approaches, and he's accompanied by a maintenance man, which is a bad sign. I take out the earplugs, and the captain asks me if they can look at the cover of the seat divider between us. It seems the cover was completely off and had been reported on the leg into Minneapolis, and from the conversation it becomes clear that if the maintenance supervisor calls somebody in to fix the divider, that's going to take at least an hour. The part is not critical for flight, and I piped in that my neighbor and I would find a way to tolerate the loose cover for the 2-hour flight home. She smiled in agreement. The captain and the maintenance supervisor agree that it could be fixed in Phoenix and might even be preferable because they have a longer layover there. I smiled over at my seatmate and thanked her for her agreement, and then added that if she needed a tray table for her drink, that I'd be happy to hold it in my lap. And without a millisecond's delay, she said, "Thank you, but I'd rather use it as a seat." I giggled and said, "Well, maybe we don't have to wait until the drinks come." Anyhow, this is how the conversation started. I giggled. It was one of those rare trips when I kept my earplugs out for a long time and got to know somebody. Like my wife, Jean was a surgical nurse, married to a distinguished neurosurgeon for 63 years. She was widowed 4 years ago, now living in a care facility independently. I asked her what it was like to live alone after a lifetime together with someone, and Jean said the hardest part were the nights. When she climbed into their queen-size bed, she could hear him, smell him, and feel his touch. His memory lingered everywhere. She couldn't sleep, and after 4 months, she bought 2 twin beds. I looked at her with raised eyebrows, and Jean said with a twinkle, "For my granddaughters who sometimes sleep over." At that moment, the flight attendant brought our drinks. Holding the teacup in one hand and shakily squeezing a lemon with the other, the lemon squirted out of my hand and landed in Jean's lap. She looked at me and then started laughing hysterically. "What's so funny?" I asked her. And she said between gasps, "The dog is licking my toes." And then added, "This has been an unforgettable trip. One man in my lap, another licking my feet. I don't think the girls are going to believe this at the dinner table tonight." I didn't read much of the Sunday Times that day, but I was inspired by Jean's vibrant, quick, flirtatious smile, and it filled me with admiration, wonder, and love. And I can only hope that when I get to be 90, I can still rub my lap and dream of Genie. Have a great, great week as we remember Mother's Day this week. Remember that we are all connected. Starts with our mothers, which is why we have belly buttons. Don't forget your mama, as Don Rickles said, because she's never going to forget you. And for those of you interested in healing, both yourself and others, the only time I'll be doing the last Mask of the Authentic Healer here in Phoenix is in 3 weeks. There's still room. Check it out on the website. Have a great week. I say this for all my relations. Mitakuye.